Okay.
We're live. Okay.
Okay. Cool. And just real quick, Garrett.
Yeah.
Um, so I have to take off here in about 5 to 10 minutes because I got to go meet up with some guys from my class because we have a project thing that we got to finish for tomorrow. So does anybody have any last questions for me here before I have to jump off?
No, not that I can think of. This is so much pressure. Like I had like 2 seconds to prepare to ask you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
Well,
stressing her out, Adam.
Well, everybody has my cell phone number or should. So feel free to text me or anything too. But yeah, the big things that we wanted to cover in here was the legal to go, going over alternates, going over, alternate minimums, the charts, and then the remarks and the METARs and the PIREPs. So those are going to be the big things you need to focus on for the interview. That's going to be most of the stuff that you get tested on.
Oh, hey, Adam, one more question.
Uh-huh.
So when you come to town, are you going to be able to do any classes with us, or are you going to be busy that whole time, or?
Oh, I absolutely can. In fact, we're going to have class all that week too, so you can also feel free to come in and join any of those as well. But we can also do some stuff on the side. I'll have all day, pretty much all day, every day, that whole week available.
Okay, cool.
Adam, just
wow, St. George is sounding pretty tempting right now.
Yeah, that's nice. Adam, I don't think they use FDCs in the interview questions. Is that correct?
Yeah.
It's just domestics, right? They
Yes.
have a couple denotums, and you have to decode, or you have to find minimums using your denotums, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, no problem. Well, good luck to everybody. Yeah, like I said, I will be there from the 19th to the 23rd that whole week. So I've got a couple, like I will be, meeting on a couple of days with people at SkyWest, but outside of that, though, like I say, we're gonna have class every day from 5:30 to 9:30, but yeah, I have the rest of pretty much every single day, the whole day, the bulk of the day available. So yeah, use me in any way that you can, and we'll try and get together and have some study sessions and whatever we need to do as well. So,
and if you don't live in St. George but work for SkyWest, fly the non-rev express down here and let's party.
Oh, I'm tempted to do it.
Alrighty.
Are you guys in, like, when you do class from 5:30 to 9:30 that week, you guys are just going to be doing flight planning, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, but flight planning covers also your weather and legal to go and things like that. So it's going to be a pretty, all-inclusive practical applications course. So.
Okay.
And the classes will all be on GoToMeeting too. So.
Okay.
Just so we can record them. So. Cool. Well. All right, guys. Well, sorry to have to jump off of here, but yeah, text me, email me if anybody needs anything specific, and hope to see most of you guys here in about a week or two.
Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, guys.
Later. All right, y'all.
Are you still there, Garrett?
Sorry, I accidentally unplugged my mic there for half a second. Okay, so we're going to go over some METARs first. Just, as Adam said, we're typically we teach to the remark and not don't go too in depth. We're kind of changing that now to where we're actually trying to, find some practical application for these remarks. I mean, your bread and butter, the meat and potatoes, are up to the remarks. This just kind of fine tunes what the remarks are saying. So, or I mean, what the METAR is saying. So, anybody want to start off with a METAR reading?
Can you zoom in on that, please?
Maybe if you zoom it up.
Oh, fine.
So needy.
So bossy over here.
All right. It's huge on my screen. I've got 27-inch monitor, so.
Oh, must be nice for those of us on the road.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
step your game up, Andrew.
What?
I guess you better step your game up.
That's right. You don't carry your Mac with you?
I'm a Dell user.
Oh, that's the no, just teasing.
There's a lot of problems. I didn't even own a computer till last year when I enrolled in this class.
That got you started, huh?
Yep.
Well,
And I will say they do want us reading those remarks, Garrett. I talked to Bill. And he said, yeah.
They do want it for sure now.
Yep.
I'm going to get going because I have to do something, but I just wanted to ask a quick question. Are you going to be available Sunday?
Sunday, I do work Sunday, but...
Okay, because I just wanted to...
He's off after 2. You can get a hold of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to go over with some more PyReps because PyReps is really, really confusing the heck out of me.
Okay.
But, I just wanted to see if we can just do that in person. I mean, it kind of helps me if I'm more with someone kind of getting taught,
Yeah. We'll also be going over PyReps tonight, so watch the recording just to kind of, get you prepped for it. So.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All right. Well, thanks.
Yep. We'll see you later.
Later.
Okay.
Bye.
So, who wants to take a stab at Seattle?
I don't know what the remarks are, but I can try. I can go until then.
All right.
Want me to?
Yeah.
I'll pick up your remarks for you, Courtney.
Well, then why don't you just do it then, girl?
No.
All right.
I'm prepared for the remarks.
Okay, well, in Seattle, at on the 9th at 0053 Zulu, there's wind from 210 degrees, 22 gusting to 30 knots, 3 statute miles of visibility with light rain, a few clouds at 1,600 feet, broken clouds at 2,200 feet, overcast at 2,700. The temperature is 10 degrees Celsius. Excuse me, with the dew point of 7 degrees, with an altimeter reading of 2965. And then remarks from my girl over here
is that the station is reporting peak winds began. They went to 21. Is that gusting?
Yeah, so
it gusted, so the winds gusted from 21 out of 210 degrees to 34 knots, and then it went down to 39 knots. That was the highest that it went.
Yeah, so just real quick.
Yeah.
This is your direction again, and then this is your speed. So,
that was the lowest and the highest in that time.
Of the gust, yes.
And then rain began at 22 after the hour. Your sea level.
Hold on. Pause for just a second.
Wait, Adam's got it.
Luckily, I'm still listening here. So that is That reading is you're correct on the first one, everything in front of the slash. However, those 4 numbers on the right side of the slash was the time.
Yeah.
That is time.
Oh, at 39.
Yeah, that's when the peak wind was recorded, the 0039 Zulu.
Got it. And then the rain began at 22 after the hour. Sea level pressure, 4.8. No precipitation. And then your temperature, your actual temperature is 10.0 and your dew point is 7.2.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I feel so stupid.
Don't feel stupid.
No,
It's a lot.
you don't, because I didn't know like that stuff either, because Bill and I had a big talk about it. I have had pilots working very hard with me on these remarks because they're weird. You don't always see them, and they don't use them in the flight deck.
All right.
So do not feel bad. And then I'm hoping Garrett pulled some of the temperatures that we'll see with some minus in the remarks section.
There will probably be 1 or 2 here. But yeah, so this type of station is an automated station with a a precipitation discriminator. So the AO2 is the precipitation discriminator. Like she said, peak winds 210 at 34 knots at 0039 Zulu. Rain began at 22 after the hour. Sea level pressure is 48. No precipitation in the last. The P is for the last hour. I want to say, yeah. Last hour. And then the T, the temperature. Remember that it's in a 4-block section. So 0, 1, 0, 0. So if you look at your temperature up here, that kind of is your good indicator. The reason why they have 1 before is this 1 before will tell you whether it's positive or negative temperature. If it's a 0, it's a positive temperature. If it's a 1, then it's a negative temperature. 10 degrees, so the 2 tenths places, you're not going to have like 100 degrees Celsius. That's just way too hot, right? And then 0.0. If there's a number after this, it's just like 10.4 or whatever it is, which you see here. Same thing here. It's your 4 digits. First one is your positive or minus, then the tenths place, tens and ones, and then 0.2, so 7.2 degrees. Good.
Good.
So
Would you read that out one more time then, fast, like how we're supposed to say it?
yeah, so the way...
Just like the remarks part is fine.
Oh, just the remarks part? Okay. So remarks, it's just a station with a a precipitation discriminator. The peak wind was at 210 at 34 knots at 0039 Zulu. Rain began at 22 after the hour. Sea level pressure is at 48. No precipitation over the last hour. The temperature is 10 degrees Celsius and 7.2 for the dew point. That's it. So a lot of these look pretty easy. Let's get into some remarks that are a little more exciting. My brother said it was probably the most boring day he's ever dispatched today. He's like, I was praying for a diversion, so I at least had something to do.
But how was yesterday?
You know what? I've actually had, even with the northeast, so northeast temperature, and the northeast, we just canceled pretty much everything going into like LaGuardia, Newark, DC.
Well, and a lot of that is like, because I only do the Alaska flying. Alaska is real aggressive and they're pre-canceling.
Mm-hmm.
So
for the northeast, it just wasn't even on the radar. the rest of the country has been phenomenal weather for the last week. So
Yeah.
I mean, it got nasty, over the Great Lakes area, but not too nasty to where it was causing us big problems. But about 2 weeks ago, we had big storms in Texas and big storms over like Minneapolis. So.
And the bomb cyclone.
Yeah. Yep. So the weather's been interesting, but nothing too horrible. So we had some pretty exciting TAFs and METARs to read in class, didn't we? The other day. So let's look at this METAR. It gets a little more exciting, not too much, but who wants to take a stab at that one?
Which one? Sorry.
TVC.
Traverse City.
TVC?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Where is TVC?
Traverse City, Michigan.
Oh, Michigan. All right. So in Michigan on the 9th at 0053 Zulu, the winds were at 310 at 7 knots. There's a 2 there that I don't know. Is it 2.5 statute miles of visibility, or is that its own thing?
2.5.
Oh, it is 2.5. Okay, they looked really far apart for some reason. Light snow, scattered at 1,400 feet, broken at 2,100 feet, overcast at 2,600 feet. The temperature is 1 degrees, and the dew point is at -1 degrees, and the dew point is at -3. The altimeter is at 29.91. Remarks, automated number 2. Sea level pressure is at 137. No precipitation, and I can't read that off, but I know what they all are in the last column.
So take a look at your temperature and dew point, and then make sense of what that is.
Oh yeah, it's the more precise one. So the temperature is at -1.1, right? And then the dew point is at -3.3.
Yep, perfect.
Did I do that right? Okay.
You did.
That's right. Yeah, they're the more correct readings. That's right.
So Garrett, real quick, so on the part that says like A02, how would you read that? Do you like just how you said it before, or?
Yeah, I'd just say it's a station. They probably won't even ask you what type of station it is. They'll, if you were to glance over that A02, they probably wouldn't say anything. But if you were asked what type of station that is, just say it's an automated station with a precipitation discriminator. If there's a 1 there, then it doesn't have the precipitation discriminator. So it can't tell the difference between snow and hail and sleet and ice pellets and snow grains. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so if you maybe just said an automated station and then kept going, they'd probably be cool with
that. They probably would. Since you said automated, though, they might be like, okay, what type of automated station? So just know that a 1 doesn't have a precipitation discriminator and a 2 does.
Okay.
I have a quick question.
Uh-huh.
So when I did the interview, they kept asking me on all these things that which level of clouds is the ceiling at?
Mhm.
Is it scattered, broken, or overcast? So I can't remember which ones of those clouds are considered a ceiling and which ones aren't.
So
Broken and overcast.
yeah, so always remember the definition of a ceiling is your lowest layer of broken or overcast clouds. So it's not just broken or overcast, it's the broken that's the lowest. So the first, if you have three like you do here, the ceiling is going to be the broken at 2100 because it is the lowest layer of the broken or overcast clouds. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
The other thing that you might see, I doubt they're going to put it in there, but is vertical visibility. So typically when vertical visibility is reporting, it's going to be the very first one here, and it'll just say VV and then like 014 or VV008. Vertical visibility is a ceiling as well. So broken, overcast, or vertical visibility. Does everybody understand that, or?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So does everybody feel comfortable with the METARs? The METARs are, out of the weather, the METARs are kind of the harder part to decode. TAFs are a little bit easier. I'm looking for anything exciting. Okay, one thing. Let's see if I can find a TAF with it. So, say you have that in a METAR. What does that mean?
Vicinity showers.
Okay.
Showers in the vicinity.
Yeah, showers in the vicinity. If you say vicinity showers, they're not going to like slap your hand or anything. As long as you understand that, the more precise you are, the more they like it. But so, what would that be?
Light rain showers.
Mm-hmm. And then, oh man, the weather is way too nice today. Okay. I had a really good one the other day. It was super exciting, and I can't remember exactly what it was. So let's say that you see and this is very
Ooh, if I screenshot you one, you can maybe pull it up.
yes, probably. Are you going to email it to me, or are you going to?
No, this one I have a bunch of printed out ones from. Let's see.
So somebody take a stab at this one really quick.
It's pretty good.
Mist and thunder, or heavy mist and thunder showers, or rain, thunderstorms. Shoot.
So heavy rain and thunderstorms. Sorry, heavy rain. So thunderstorms with heavy rain and mist.
Okay.
I sent you one.
Let's see.
Oh, and I found my one. I had one with vertical visibility. I'm such a nerd, you guys. But they're all.
So I'll just transcribe them onto here so that.
Yeah. Here comes another one that had I knew I had a vertical visibility.
So.
It helps to see it, maybe, I don't know. Hmm.
So somebody do this first one.
Is it light freezing drizzle?
Uh-huh. Okay. Now do this one.
Light snow, blowing light, blowing snow.
Yep.
Yep. So light snow and blowing snow. So not only is it snowing, but it's windy enough to be blowing snow as well. And that one.
That is light snow. And I don't have a yeah.
Okay. So, if we go back to those, to our worksheet, we can see that means ice pellets.
No.
Yep. So ice pellets, and then let's see. Trying to think of a couple off the top of my head that are a little fun. Let me type this one in really quick. International Falls. That's actually. I told my class about a story about talking to the guys at International Falls. They're hilarious.
What else would you have? I mean, it's International Falls.
Mm-hmm.
They probably don't have a lot going on up there anyway.
Oh, they're pretty good at drinking beers, They're a fun group to call.
That's funny.
Asking for a FICON. It's like 75% bare and dry, and it's about 75% covered in ice.
God, you might sound like you've spent some time up there.
I watched a lot of Strange Brew growing up. Okay, somebody go ahead and decode our International Falls METAR there.
I can't. I sent it to you.
I can try.
All right, give it a shot.
We like people that will try. Go for it, Courtney.
All right, on the 30th at 1908 Zulu, auto. Shoot.
So that
What's
just
auto
means it's
again?
automated.
Yep,
Okay.
you got it.
Okay. Winds from 160 degrees to 11 gusting to 18 knots. 1/4, I'm guessing, statute mile of visibility.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
With heavy snow and a vertical visibility of 14, and the temperature is -13, a dew point of 16.
Yep. So you did great. Just make sure you say 1,400 feet on that one. So
1,400. Oh, okay.
Yep.
See, you killed it, Courtney.
Thanks, girl.
So so yeah, when you see auto, that just means that it's an automated system in METAR. So
That's right. I
and
totally knew that too. I just spaced.
at my class, they heard my story about this. I'll share it really quick, but International Falls. We called him up one time, and the guy next to me, he's like, "Hey, your METAR machine, METAR reporting machine, your automated METAR machine isn't producing any METARs." Oh, okay, I'll go out and take a look at her. Okay, I'll give you a call back in like 5 minutes. So he goes out and he comes back in and he's like, "Oh yeah, it should be reading right now. We just went out and gave her an good old kick, and she started right up. So, so we asked him. It's actually in their procedures in International Falls that when the METAR machine breaks down, they go out and kick it, and then restart it, and it fires it up. So,
We need to go there. We need to observe this.
yeah.
It's like turning it off and turning it back on. Like, that's a thing.
No, like kicking it.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's the equivalent of being able to plug something and unplug it and plug it back in. Just
Yeah,
it's good.
pretty much.
It doesn't matter how it happens. It matters it's effective.
That's right. And give her old kick.
Your accent is just perfect.
Yeah, they're hilarious though. I call them just to call them. I find an excuse to call them up.
You're like, gosh, I hope I have International Falls on my list today.
Exactly. So everybody feel good about the METARs?
The main body, yes.
The main body, the remarks, the website that I pasted on there. I think Andrea, you pasted one on there too. I think either one of those will go over the remarks section and decode that. You're not going to be required to understand absolutely everything. There's things that I've never seen in my entire life. Like, Adam got me into trouble with this one. I don't recall seeing that as far as, I took a stab, but yeah.
So what was that again? Just
So
for
this
my
one,
knowledge.
peak
It
wind,
was 210 degrees on the.
And it gusted to 34.
No, I don't think that's right.
Yep. So 210 degrees. The strongest gust was 34 miles an hour.
No, and then it's the time.
Then
Okay.
this is the time right here. So it was 39 after the hour. That was when the strongest gust was, the peak wind was recorded.
Okay.
So.
Cool.
Yep. All right, so let's go on to TAFs and do some legal to go. We're going to start with legal to go. Now you got to really differentiate in your mind what is legal to go and does this require an alternate. They are two totally separate things, and you've got to make sure that you're not scrambling them up or trying to do both at the same time, because you're just going to confuse yourselves. So we read the TAF the same exact as the METAR. And I'm just going over this like a completely, like you've never seen it before, but I'm going through it kind of fast so that you guys don't fall asleep either. But this first line, it has a valid time in it. So this is saying, this first line is the start of the TAF. So this is when it was first, this is when they wrote the TAF and published it. This is the valid time. So from 0900 Zulu to 10:06 or 10:06 Zulu, the following day. This is the valid TAF. I'm sorry. Nope, I got that way wrong. This is the day. So it's valid from 00 Zulu to the 10th at 06. Wow. I've been off work for the last 2 days or last 3 days, so I've got to restart my brain here. So the 9th at 00, to the 10th at 06. We're good. And then you read it just like you would a METAR. Winds 210 at 18 knots, gusting to 30 knots. The P stands for greater than or plus. You can think of it as a plus sign. So greater than 6 statute miles of visibility. Light rain showers, broken at 2,300 feet, overcast at 4,000 feet. But then you got to remember that this line, the 0024, is only valid until 0759. Then once it hits 0800, this is now the forecast from 0800 to the next line, which would be 1459, and then 1500 to 1959, and then 20Z to the end of our valid period of the TAF, which is 0600Z on the 10th. Does that make sense with everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. That being said, man, the weather is just way too good.
Yeah, no alternates. All good to go. ETA times are fine.
Yep. Let me, you know what I'm going to do really quick? I'm going to do what I do with my class, and I'm going to just alter these really, really fast. So I'm not going to let you guys see what I'm doing here. Does anybody have any questions on Legal to Go, or does it require an alternate before we get started on them?
Not I.
Marisa, are you in St. George?
No, I don't arrive until Sunday.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were coming this week or not. I just wanted to give you a shout out.
Oh, no problem.
And congratulations, CJ. I'm sure that is very exciting to have that ADX off of your plate.
All I can say is now the weather in Seattle sucks.
Allegedly.
According
I keep
to
forgetting I'm
Garrett.
muting myself. I start talking to myself. I'm like, oh, I'm muted.
Okay, before we get started on this, I'm just going to start with these two, and then we're going to kind of expand on them. And yeah, I don't want to get too confusing right off the bat. Okay, so when we are looking for legal to go, what is the only thing we're looking at when it comes to legal to go?
Visibility.
The what?
Visibility.
Yep, the visibility. We don't care about the ceiling. We are only concerned about the visibility. Okay. Okay. So, looking at Seattle, if I tell you that the landing minimums, and we're going to look at these on the chart too, just so you guys can see them, are 258 and 1/2. So if I give you that as the landing minimums off the chart, like as you would read them off the chart, what are my actual landing minimums?
300.5.
300.5, correct. Okay, so with that knowledge, what are we looking for in the TAF for legal to go?
That your ceiling's greater than that, or at that or greater.
Nope, we're not concerned about ceilings. We are 100% concerned about visibility.
Oh, visibility.
Yep.
Your
So
statute line.
yep. So anything that is less than 1/2 statute mile, as far as visibility goes, that would be the only thing that would be illegal. So if I have my landing minimums, and I believe this is how it is on the test, am I correct? It'll give you an ETA. Let's just say our ETA
0700.
is
Do 0700.
0700, and our landing minimums are this. Are we legal to dispatch this flight?
No.
No.
Why?
Your statute miles is at a quarter,
At 1 hour after E ETA.
1 hour before. Well, yeah.
Okay. So this is where we got to make the differentiation in our head. So as when we are talking legal to go, we are only talking about the ETA. So
Okay.
at 0700 Zulu, this is the only line we would be concerned about.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. I was thinking alternates.
Yep. And that's why we're reviewing this, is because there's a very distinct line that we got to draw when we think legal to go versus our alternate required. Legal to go, we are only concerned about our ETA. So at 0700 Zulu, we are technically legal to go because our visibility is above our 1/2 mile. Does everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's say I give you an ETA of, 1430. Now are we legal to go?
No.
No. Correct.
Because that's in 0800 line.
Yep. And only in this line, correct? Okay. So anything, if your ETA is, and this is the way I taught my classes, the first thing that I want them to do when they're thinking of legal to go is to only look at the landing visibility and the ETA and find the, well, only, you don't even have to look at the ETA. Look at the landing visibility. If it gives you a number, which I believe it does, or it might give you the chart. Do you remember, Andrea?
Mine had the chart.
Okay.
I have no idea.
It
would
did have
just
the chart. I do remember now.
I
They gave
really
me
don't know.
that corresponded with one approach plate.
Okay. Let me do this. I'm not going to give you the landing minimums, and we're going to pull up some charts. Not there. So we'll pull up Seattle. So we're not going to go into that. Never mind. Don't listen to me for just 1 second while I talk to myself. And if you guys want to know, yes, this is how I talk in my class. I'm a little
Adam did the
scatterbrained.
same thing. Adam does the same thing.
I get pretty scatterbrained at times.
I'm not gonna lie, I totally have cyber stalked you guys and watched a bunch of your classes already, so
Well, good.
I'm aware.
Good. It's good for you. Let's say 250. Okay, can everybody see what's on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So they're going to give you a single approach plate. Okay. And I'm going to pick one that's not low. Well, okay, so let's apply some logic to this really, really fast. Okay. What are the absolute lowest landing minimums that you can have for your destination airport?
200.5.
200.5, correct. So if you have anything below a half-mile visibility on the TAF, automatically you already know that time period, this from line, is illegal. So anything that falls in that time is automatically, we can just rule that out, okay? And yes, I snapped my fingers. So anything that is 0800 to 1459, automatically illegal. So we can just automatically rule this out because regardless of what our chart says, this is below our lowest landing minimums. Okay. Now let's see. Okay. So looking at this chart, where are our landing minimums and what are they?
Can you blow it up?
Yep.
I mean, I know where they are. I can't actually read them.
Let's see. There we go.
So what was the question? I apologize. I
So
only heard
what are our landing minimums on this chart?
200.5.
300.
Oh, 3. Oh my goodness. Good catch.
Okay. Anything that's above, 200, it goes by 100, and we automatically round up to the next 100 if it's anything over. So yes, 200 and 1/2. And we're just going to assume that that's all that we're going off of, okay? So 200, 1/2. So at 1430 here on this from line, we have 1/4 mile. It's not legal to dispatch. Okay. Now let's go to Medford if they have Medford on here. I might have to pull that up.
Where's all your new students from that are listening to us?
What was that?
I said, where are all the new students from? Because don't you do all online with them? Since they don't want to talk to us.
Yep.
I'm listening, and I usually talk a lot. I just have a 5-year-old sitting in my lap right now.
Oh, where do you live?
Just here in St. George.
Oh.
Yep, I'm in Washington.
Ooh, there's a super cute house I want to buy there.
It's probably expensive.
It's way
It's in
overpriced.
Yeah. I've
It's
been trying
way
to buy a house too. Yeah, they are extremely.
And yeah, I've been watching it since November.
Yeah, I've been watching since August, and it's not getting better.
Yeah.
Like my mom has a 3-bedroom house in the fields, and she bought it in like 2011, I think, and she got it for 111. And the same exact house, like down the street, is selling for like 240 right now.
Wow.
Yeah, like it's insane.
Yeah, I just sold mine. So, where's the other people from? Why don't they talk to us?
I'm from Hawaii.
Oh, I heard them say that you were the furthest away.
Yeah.
Do you are?
And my family just heard you guys say 240,000, and they're like, "What?
It's so cheap.
That's so cheap." That's what my husband goes. That's what my son said. That's so cheap.
That is. Well, that's even so cheap to me. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'd like to think St. George would not be that high.
Yeah, if you think about the fact that if you don't work at SkyWest and you live in St. George, you probably make minimum wage. Like that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
SkyWest is like the only good paying jobs here. That's why
I
everything
know.
it's still
Some of those
$12 an hour.
Every once in a while, I look at those mansions out there.
they're all out of towners.
I know.
Man, I am having a tough time finding the Jeppesen charts on here.
I don't have access on my SkyWest online. You need a chart for Medford?
I know. If I just type in.
Are you going to move to St. George, Marissa? Is that how you say your name?
It's Marisa. My husband's
you-
like, I'm contemplating it.
Okay. Maybe Hawaiian's hiring. They were hiring last fall.
Well, my friend works for Hawaiian, so I'm actually kind of waiting for them, but I mean, I don't know how long that's going to be.
Or it doesn't hurt to get the interview experience.
Yes, that's what Garrett was saying.
Yes. He's a pretty smart guy. I haven't met him yet, but he's pretty smart.
It's all fake. All right. Let's see. This one's at. I'm not going to give you guys an easy chart. Just
No,
not going to do it.
Do you already work for SkyWest, CJ?
No, she doesn't. But I work at SkyWest, and I basically shoved it down her throat until she agreed to do school.
Yep. Courtney's the one that explained everything to me. No, I'm a steel worker right now. Hang on, Natty, 1 second, baby. No, I'm a steel worker.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I work at Reed Ashman. Right, meow.
Got it.
Okay, let's take a look at Medford here. So this is our Medford TAF. Okay. So are there any lines that we can just eliminate legal to go right off the bat? Knowing that don't look at the chart yet. Let's just.
No.
Right. So nothing below a half mile. So we need to look at the chart and pay special attention, right? So what are our landing minimums?
Is that 1377, so 1400?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's super blurry on my screen. Well, because it's so small. And then is that 2.5?
Mm-hmm.
2.25.
2.5.
Yeah.
So 2.5 is our visibility. So 2.5 miles, anything below 2.5 miles on this chart, we know is illegal to dispatch. So what lines are illegal to dispatch? Which lines can we immediately eliminate?
All but the bottom.
All of the 3 top ones.
Okay, perfect. So no, no, no. Okay, that being said, where does our ETA fall?
Is that a 0345?
For the second line.
Yeah. So our ETA falls in this line, which we already eliminated and said is illegal, right? Because it's at 2 miles. We require 2.5. Good. So it is not legal to dispatch. Okay, does everybody understand where to find the landing minimums on the chart, and also legal to go?
Yes.
Yes.
I believe so.
Okay.
I got so many of these questions on the ADX today. I'm so happy I learned them in class. I got like five or six like this where I had to figure out the landing minimums, and I'm so happy that I knew them.
Don't you just feel like a champion after you pass that?
Yes, so much. I was
in front of all these pilots. Bam, right into the door.
Yep. You don't even care. That's the thing, is that you don't even care because you're so
Well, they were all
stoked.
cheering, but then I like smacked the door. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it would have been fine with me. I could have tripped and fell on my face on the way out, and nothing could have ruined my day today. Nothing.
Nope. I remember that day well.
It's a big deal.
I actually walked from the college back to work, and I like skipped the whole way. I was like crying, skipping like a psycho. I probably looked so crazy.
It's okay. Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah, my whole department.
I ran into a door. It's fine.
My whole department freaked out. They were so excited.
Oh, yeah.
They're not so happy about me leaving now, so I just kind of keep it all to myself.
Oh, they can just.
We need you.
So, oops. My bad. Okay. So, we have a NOTAM that I just threw in here, and this is how it will actually be on the test as well. Okay. So, for my people in my class, I've kind of played it easy on you guys for a minute.
But it's coming.
But the storm's coming. Okay. Winter's coming. Jon Snow. Okay. So let's take a quick look at our NOTAM and apply our NOTAM to our legal to go. Who wants to decode this NOTAM for us really quick?
I will. Wait, I've done a lot. Does someone else want to?
Hold on. Sorry.
No.
Why did you type SFO?
What was that?
They put it in twice in NOTAMs, remember?
No, I know, but why did you put SFO and not Medford?
Oh, sorry. I didn't type it in. I just
I'm
copied it.
I'm thinking I just must have the wrong stuff.
No, my bad.
Okay,
Are you gonna do it, or do you want me to do it?
I'll do it because I have not been reading NOTAMs at work.
Okay, now it's correct.
Thank you for fixing that for me. It's March. It's a NOTAM for March. It's the 68th NOTAM for March for Medford Runway 14. The ALS is out of service on March 18th at 900. No, the 9th of March on the 18th. 0090. Sorry, it's so small on my computer.
Sorry.
Till the 10th of March 2018 to 1800.
Are you on your phone?
No, I'm on my computer. It's just.
Oh, I was gonna say, if you're on your phone, you can actually like zoom in on the screen because I'm on my phone right now.
My computer is a touch screen, but I don't know why it won't let me zoom. So yeah, March 9th at 000 to March 10th, 2018 to 1800.
Yep. Okay. So what is our ALS?
Approach light.
Approach lighting system. So they might actually ask you to decode a NOTAM, and they want you to decode that, right? ALS or
ILS. Center line markings.
Yeah, center line markings. They might want you to decode like, or they might want you to say, touchdown zone lighting, which is, TDZL or something like that.
Can I add one thing to that, Garrett?
Mhm.
Sorry to interrupt, but on the practical, a friend of mine that took the practical before me, there was a NOTAM that said AD, and apparently that means the airport is closed.
So there can be an AD in there? Yeah.
Yeah, and so like we didn't know that, and so she failed, but then she told us and we got it. So apparently like Greg has on one of his tests that there's an AD, so that just means that the airport is closed.
So the AD means aerodrome. So if you see an AD, don't just assume that it's closed, because
Really?
it'll say AD and then it'll say CLSD. So let me show you what that'll look like.
Oh, CLSD.
Yeah, I had that one on my practical test that I had from Greg.
That's what it'll look like. Okay.
Okay.
There could be and then it would be like.
So then remind me what the aerodrome means then.
So aerodrome is just airport.
Oh, okay. That's just airport. Okay.
Yeah, that just means airport. So if you see something like this, it'd be like the Medford Aerodrome, birds in the vicinity from this time permanent. So this is when they wrote the NOTAM, and it's effective permanently, right? So you need to still read the NOTAM. It just, when you see AD, just know that that's the airport. So if it says AD closed during the time that you're dispatching it, yeah, that's
good to know, because she just told me that like if it's the if you get the practical that has AD, you can't use it. So yep. I didn't really get the info on what that meant exactly. So thanks for that.
No problem. So
see, Garrett, you're so.
No, I'm like I said, it's the old military term, fake it till you make it. It's all a front right now.
Bye.
I mean, as long as we're getting the information, you can front all you want. front to your heart's content.
Help you out.
So
sorry.
No, you're fine. So reading this, the approach lighting system. So how would this affect this TAF and legal to go?
Can you scroll down a little bit?
Yep. So
your minimums.
So it's going to increase our minimums. So we, we verify on our chart here that we have So if you see runway 14 ALS OTS or something like that, if you see a runway NOTAM, make sure that your chart, first of all, says runway that the NOTAM is for. Okay, just make sure that it's the correct runway. And then come down here to your minimums. Now, what are our minimums if the approach lighting system is out of service?
And 1400.
Okay, once again, we've got 1400
And 3.
and 3 miles. Because, as you see right here, if the ALS is out, we have to use this section right here. I'll erase all that stuff. So when we have something affecting the runway, we need to, that kind of heightens our suspicion that something's wrong on the runway, and we need to pay close attention to that NOTAM. So make sure that if you read a NOTAM and it that's associated with your legal to go, that you're applying that NOTAM before you go and find legal to go. Don't just assume that this is going to be your landing minimums. Okay, you need to make sure that the NOTAM has been applied before you get your landing minimums. So you're first going to look at your NOTAMs associated with the question. Then you're going to come here and look at this second, make sure that you apply this NOTAM, and then you're going to come here to your ETA and find it, and then am I legal to go? So this is your third. Does everybody understand that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So let's say that we have this NOTAM. This is the chart that we're using, and our ETA is now 1815C. Are we legal to dispatch?
No.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Yeah, we are.
Okay.
3 statute miles. Yeah.
Yep. So, as I say to my class, explain yourself.
I was looking at the broken at 100. That was my bad. But
Yep.
yeah, the 3 statute miles is fine to dispatch.
Yep. We can dispatch as long as our visibility. Okay, good. So yes, we would be legal because we have 3 statute miles in our visibility here. Okay. Does everybody feel comfortable with legal to go?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's move on. Let's change the pace here. Now we are going to talk about alternates. So what do we do? What is important to remember with alternates?
The 1, 2, 3 rule.
So 1, 2, 3. What is the 1, 2, 3 rule?
1 hour before, 1 hour after, 2,000-foot ceiling, 3 statute miles.
Okay. So all right. Let's change our ETA once again. And okay. Okay, at 20Z. Okay. Do we require an alternate?
Yes.
Okay. Explain why.
Because we fall into the fourth line, but we have broken clouds at 1500.
Okay. Yep. So we fall into this line at 1500 or at 20Z. This is the line we're looking at, and only this line, right? So our 1 hour before and after fall into 18Z. We've got 3 statute miles of visibility, and we're broken at 1,500 feet. So that 2 represents 2,000 feet. We're below 2,000 feet. We require an alternate. Okay. Now let's change this ETA to 2030Z. Do we require an alternate?
Yes.
Okay. Explain.
Because an hour before the ETA would fall into the 1500 line, 1500 Zulu, right?
Mhm.
So the ceiling is less than 2,000 and only a half statute mile.
Yep. Good. Good, good, good. Now, all right. Now, once again, looking at Seattle, do we require an alternate at that ETA?
No.
Okay, where does our ETA window fall? What is our ETA window?
Between or the 0800 line.
Okay, so we're getting to that point, but what is the ETA window? So what are we looking for?
0915 to 1115.
Yep, 0915 to 1115. Perfect. So where does that all fall?
To the 0800 line.
Okay, 0800 line. Okay. So we do not require an alternate at this because we are at 3 miles and 2,000 foot ceilings. So if it were anything less at all, then we would require a bit. But at 2,000 foot ceilings and 3 miles of visibility and a greater, we do not require an alternate. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. So Somebody want to take a stab at that? Somebody new?
Are you sick of me already?
No, I just want to see if anybody else can catch it.
Yeah, that's my bad.
You do need an alternate
Okay, why?
because at the hour after, there's 2 statute miles of visibility, so that doesn't fall into the 1
Okay, so our ETA window is 13Z to 15Z. So if this was 1359, would we require that alternate? Oops, not 69, 59?
No.
No, because our ETA window would be 1459, which is prior to this next from line, correct? But since it's 1400Z, our ETA window falls on that forecast. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does everybody feel good about that?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
you guys really need to make a distinction between legal to go and does this require an alternate? Yeah. So that being said, you guys feel good about it? Absolutely no questions? And if so, then we'll move on to applying the 1 nav aid and 2 nav aid rule. Okay. No questions? Moving on.
No, sir.
Okay. Now, my class, we've talked about this in the past, and we've even applied it a couple times. But this will be on your on your interview. So I've got a chart pulled up here. It doesn't matter where this chart's for or what it's for. What are my landing minimums?
$200.5.
Okay.
Oh, are we looking? I wasn't looking at the chart. I was just saying that.
Well, it's right. So there's 2 differences, right here, okay?
Oh,
So we're going to look at this for our landing minimums, this top one. Okay?
Yeah.
So 200.5. Okay? If you see 2 here, and it's just asking, what are your landing minimums? You're just going to go off of the least penalizing of the 2 charts. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that being said, what are our alternate minimums if we have 2 nav aids for this runway?
400. Oh, for 200.
So what is the 1 nav aid, 2 nav aid rule?
400.5. 400 and 2.5.
Nope.
401, 2.5. 200.5, sorry.
Yep. So for 1 nav aid, what is what do we have to add to our minimums?
401 mile visibility.
Yes. So if we have 1 nav aid, what is our new landing or our alternate landing minimums for this runway?
601.5.
So it changes this to 600. And this, we add a half mile on to 1 mile. Okay. Okay, so now if there's 2 nav aids, what are my new landing minimums?
$400.
Oh, I'm sorry.
One.
I'm sorry. Let me go back. Okay. So we add 401. So 1 nav aid equals 400
And
feet and 1 mile visibility. Okay, that's what we have to add. For 2 nav, we have to add 200 feet to our ceilings and 1/2 to our visibility.
that's
right?
pretty handy tool you got there.
It's extremely hard to use. But, okay.
So ask the questions again using our plates, because I think I confused myself.
Okay. So if we, so 200, or the way we find out if we have 1 nav aid or 2 nav aid will go into separate. But let's just assume that we have only 1 nav aid approach for this runway. What would be our new alternate minimums?
601.5.
Yeah. So our new alternate minimums are 600 feet, 1.5 miles visibility. Good. Okay. Now that we know that, what would be our 2 nav aid landing minimums?
201 or 401.
Yeah.
Yep, 401. Okay. Just so you guys know, in the future, the absolute lowest land or alternate minimums that you can have for an airport are going to be 401. And that's using the 2 nav aid rule and your landing minimums being 200.5. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's the absolute lowest you could ever go. Okay. Now let's assume that our ALS, let's just put in the note on the ALS is out of service. What are our alternate minimums using the 2 nav aid rule for our runway?
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
So let's say that the approach lighting system is out of service, so the ALS is out of service. What are our alternate minimums using 2 nav, like we have 2 nav aids?
One and a fourth and 400.
Yep. So 1 1/4 because we just add a 1/2 mile. And then we add 200 feet to our ceilings, which gives us 400, 1 1/4. Good. Okay. And let's say that our glide slope, or the GP, is what you'll see in the NOTAM. Let's assume that our GP is out. What would be our 1 nav aid alternate minimums?
801. If I'm reading all my numbers right.
701.5.
We're getting close.
800, 1.5.
800, 1.5. Right. So we're going to take this and round it up to 400.
Oh, 1 1/2, sorry.
You're good. So 400 feet, and then we're going to add on our 400 feet for the 1 nav aid rule, which gives us 800 feet. And then here we're just going to add on our 1 statute miles, just +1, which gives us 1 1/2. Okay, good. Does everybody understand how to read these charts?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Are you going to go over like how we find out if we have a 1 or a 2?
yep, that's what I was just about to dive into. Okay. I can't remember exactly whether or not this is actually on the interview test, but just for safety's sake, we're going to talk about it. When we're talking about the 1 nav aid, 2 nav aid rule, what we're talking about is, let's use Medford in this case because it's kind of a little more difficult runway. It's not very standard. Okay. So Medford, Oregon has runway 14 and runway 32. Same strip of pavement, right? 14, 32 is the reciprocal of 14. So 1 strip of pavement, 1 runway, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 approaches technically. Now we're not using RNAV, right? So we just have 1, 2, 3, 4 approaches. So that being said, if we were to look at Medford, the first thing that we're going to want to do is look for our lowest possible landing minimums. Okay, and using that, we'll apply our 1 nav aid rule to that just to see what our 1 nav aid rule or what our 1 nav aid is. Okay, what type of approach has the lowest and is the most precise a landing that you can get?
ILS.
An ILS. Okay, it's a precision approach. It's using ground-based navigation. It is the most precise approach that you can use when we're figuring this out. Okay, so using ILS or localizer DME runway 14, we can look at that chart and we can figure out what our landing minimums are, and then we can apply the 1 nav aid rule to it. So we've looked at this chart already. What are our landing minimums again? The lowest?
1 3/4. Oh, 200 1/2.
Yep, so 200 1/2. And we apply the 1 nav aid rule to it, which gives us 401, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or no, I'm sorry. Sorry. So we apply the 1 nav aid rule, which is adding 401, which gives us 601 1/2.
So why did we choose the 1 nav aid rule again?
Because we're just going off, we're just trying to figure out really quick which approach is going to give us the lowest landing minimums if we apply 1 nav aid or 2 nav aid.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So we already know that we have 601 1/2 for our 1 nav aid rule. So now we can go and see if we can get lower with a 2 nav aid rule. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we go into VOR DME runway 14, what are our landing minimums there?
Whoa. 2.5 and 1,400.
Yep. So 1,400, 2.5. Okay. So 1,400, 2.5. If we apply the 2 nav aid rule, we know that we've got 600, 1.5. Just
What?
using the ILS, we have 600,
Oh.
1.5. So if we apply the 2 nav aid rule, we've got to use the most penalizing approach, which out of the ILS and this one's more penalizing. So we'd have to apply the 2 nav aid rule to this. That would give us what? 14 plus 200 gives us 1,600 feet. And then 3 miles visibility, right? Those would be our alternate. Nope, we're just, with the 2 nav aid rule, we're only adding a half mile to our visibility. So 1,603 is our 2 nav aid alternate minimums. So what's lower, 1,603 or 601.5?
601.5.
Yep, which means that the 1 nav aid rule
Did better.
gives us our best landing minimums. Okay. Now we can keep looking at this and look at some more of these charts here. My gosh.
So, totally gonna derail. So, we're doing that. And you ran both of them just because you didn't know? You could always use the less restrictive one, though. That one would always trump it.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? I didn't ask that question very good.
Yeah, so
Like, oh, there's, you run it. You can always use the better one or, the lower minimums.
yeah, so the
I'm
best.
asking you terribly.
Yeah, so I understand what you're asking. So when you're asked 1 nav aid, 2 nav aid,
Yeah.
what you want to do is I automatically, because of how much easier it is to apply the 1 nav aid rule, I automatically go to this one. So this is my go-to.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah. Okay.
So when I'm looking at this, I automatically apply the 1 nav aid rule to my least restrictive approach. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Which is always going to be my ILS. So if my ILS is, let's just say that my ILS is like 350 and then 1 mile. I would apply the 1 nav aid rule, which would add 400, so make it 800 feet.
Okay.
Because we right, so I'm saying that if it says 350, yep. So if I add my 400 to it, it makes it 800 feet.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was just.
Yep. And then I add my 1 mile onto there. That gives me 2 3/4. Now, when I look at this, when I look at my TAF, so let's just say that, okay, this is the Medford plates, so we're looking at Medford.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to see if Medford is a legal alternate at this point, okay?
Okay.
So what we're trying to decide is at my ETA at Medford, let's just say that my ETA is 1810Z, okay? My ETA is 1810Z. I have to have both visibility and ceiling when I'm looking at my alternate. Is my alternate legal to go? or
Okay.
legal to list. So I would say, do I have 2 3/4 mile visibility at my
Yes.
ETA, which I do, okay? And do
Okay.
I have an 800-foot ceiling or greater?
Yes. Okay.
Hey, Garrett, for this one, I'm getting confused. Are you use the 800, we at the 350, but it's not a half. We're using the bottom one. Are we using two different minimums?
Oh,
No,
my bad.
that's not right. We should use the half, right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
used 2 different charts there.
On. Okay.
See?
All right.
See, that's why I'm not a
It
dispatcher.
happens to the best of us.
That's why I'm not a dispatcher.
Shut up.
Okay.
Okay.
So 350. Man, I'm telling you what. So we just bought a car and everything this 3 days off. I've been back and forth to Salt Lake 3 times. Like my brain is just fried at this point, and I probably could use some sleep. But anyways, so yeah, we apply this 400,
Okay.
which would give us 800 total.
Right.
Okay.
And then here we would just add our 1 mile to 1.5. So 800, 1.5. Okay, now let's look at applying that to our ETA of, so using our 200.5, let's apply it to our ETA of, let's use 0-130Z. Okay, this is alternate again. So I guess there's 3 distinctions you got to make in your brain. Legal to go. Do I need an alternate? Do I have, at my alternate, at my ETA, do I have landing minimums? Okay. So 0-130 Zulu. Using the 1 navade rule, because we're going to start with the 1 navade rule and just go from there, right? Do we, or are we legal to list Medford as an alternate?
No,
Okay, why?
because it falls into the third line, and it's in our let's see, it's 1 navig, it's 1.5 statute miles is what we do on every.
Okay. 0-130 will fall into this line. Okay. Remember, this is our time. Even though it's talking about the entire TAF, this is also the valid forecast from 2344 Zulu until 0259. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, and I was looking at the time. It still doesn't fall into the
Right.
because we only have one section.
Right. So we look at applying the 1 navade rule. We know that 1.5 is the best we can get using 1 navade rule. So do we have 1.5 right there? No, we do not. So this would not be legal using the 1 navade rule to list as an alternate. That at that point we would go, okay, is there another runway that has a different navade, a different runway that is illegal? Like there's nothing that precludes it. Does that make sense? So we would look for another runway. Now, when I say, does it use a different navade, we're looking in this box right here. This is the navade that we're counting, okay? So the second, if we're trying to apply this 2 navade rule, we are trying to find a second approach that uses a different nav aid. Does everybody understand that part?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go to a different chart here. We're going to go to our VOR DME runway 14 really quick. And we're going to look up in this box, does it have a different nav aid than our ILS?
Yes.
Yes. The other, the ILS approach uses IMFR, okay? That's the three-letter identifiers, MFR. This one is using the VOR OED, okay? So two different nav aids, so we have two nav aids, okay? So we can actually even use the same piece of pavement for the one nav aid, two nav aid rule. It doesn't require different pieces of pavement. So we are on runway 14, okay? We've got a different nav aid, and the winds aren't precluding us from using, let's just say the winds aren't precluding us from using this runway. So it's a viable runway that we can land at, a second approach that we can use. That being said, if we go down here to the bottom, we've got to use the most restrictive of the two and apply our two nav aid rules to that. So our two nav aid rules are a lot higher than our one nav aid, right?
Uh-huh.
So we could just automatically assume that that's going to be illegal because we already eliminated it with our one nav aid rule. Our two nav aid rule is higher than our one nav aid rule. We can just automatically say, nope, not legal. Does that make sense? Oh, sorry, down here. Not legal. We're going to get through this, I promise.
I'm having my doubts.
So, is everybody getting the point? Everybody understand the one nav aid, two nav aid rule?
I get that well. That's the easiest.
Okay, so just remember when you're looking at one nav aid, two nav aid. So I'm going to type it in here.
All the boys got sick of us and left class.
But the men stayed, right?
The what?
The men stayed, though.
The boys left and the men stayed.
That's right.
You're right, Garrett. The man stayed.
Isn't it like Women's Day or something anyway?
My bad. Sorry.
It is. According to Facebook, it is.
Yep.
Other than that, I would never have known.
Right? And big shocker, everyone on the internet's upset about something.
They're always upset about something.
Yep. Every time there's a day for anything, everyone's offended.
Totally.
I'm offended that people are offended.
Of course you would be.
And you'll fit right in.
I'm just teasing. So, everybody just memorize that right there. And when you're asked to find alternate minimums, that is what you have to do. If you have
Wait, hold on.
two runways using different identifiers, you can apply the 2 nav aid. If you have one, or let's just say that both runways have use the same nav aid. Does that we could only use the 1 nav aid rule because there's only 1 nav aid, regardless of how many runways use it. There's still only 1 nav aid. So if that nav aid is out, whether it be a VOR or a DME or an ILS, if that's out, then we cannot use that approach, right?
Right.
So we have to have 2 separate nav aids to apply the 2 nav aid rule. But if we only have 1 nav aid, we have to use the 1 nav aid rule.
And so my question would be, so with the 1 nav aid rule, are we typically looking at the ILS chart and then for the 2 nav aid, the VOR chart, or it does not matter?
Nope. If you have 2 ILS approaches, so let's use a different. Oops, sorry. Let's go to Seattle. So Seattle, look how many ILSs they have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are all their different ILS approaches. Okay. So in Seattle, if you just check the chart, all I have to do is I look at the chart. First of all, I'm looking for separate identifiers. So I'd look here. I'd see this one uses SEA. This approach uses ITUC. So 2 separate nav aids, right? Then I come down here to the charts. What's my minimums? 200 or 300 and 1/2, right? So 217, round that up to 300, and then 1/2 mile visibility. So I know with the 2 nav aid rules, my landing minimums are now 500 and 1 mile. Okay. You can look for better if you need better, and look for a runway or an approach that has 200.5 as well. So this one, the first one that we looked at was SEA. This one's BEJ. Can come down here, see that it has 200.5. So we've got 1 runway that has 200.5 and 2 runways that have 200.5. So we know that using the 2 nav aid rule, we can get 401 for our alternate minimums.
Hey, Garrett.
Yeah.
So I know, okay, this is going to sound really dumb, but so we would have to look for this every time we were looking at a runway, or just if we were looking for an alternate, or like maybe just explain to me again why, like when we would need to find out if we need 1 or 2.
So the only time you apply the 1 nav aid and 2 nav aid rules is when we're trying to find a legal alternate.
Alternate, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Okay.
I'm tired, I guess.
You're no problem. I've made plenty of mistakes myself tonight. Yeah, you're just looking for an alternate, a legal alternate. So you're still going to use the TAF. You're still going to look at the ETA, but you're going to decide, do I have better minimums with 1 nav aid or better minimums with 2 nav aid rule? And then you're going to apply those minimums to your landing minimums, and then find out if at your ETA you have the weather to make it legal. I went through that really fast. Let me say that one more time, a little bit slower.
Slow down.
Sorry. So when we're looking for an alternate, so applying this only to, do I have a legal alternate? Sorry, this is really hard to write with. I promise I actually have pretty decent handwriting in real life.
No man does.
Oh, you'd be impressed. I promise you. The military done me good. So if we're looking for a legal alternate here, okay, we apply the 1 nav aid, 2 nav aid rules. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our charts, find our best landing minimums. Okay. Well, so this is first. Okay. Second, we'll apply our 1 nav aid rule. Okay. So that makes it 601.5, right? Okay. Once we have that, we're going to look for a second runway that also has a separate identifier from our first. So we'll look up here first, see that we have a separate identifier. Once we know that we have a separate identifier, we're going to go down here. We're going to look at our landing minimums. Oops, different color. We're going to look at our landing minimums. And then we'll apply our 2 nav aid rules to the most penalizing runway. So, you know, if this was 250, whatever it is, you'd apply the rule to the most penalizing runway. So we'd add our 200.5 to this, giving us 401. Okay, this is the absolute best you can ever get. So if on your test, every line in your TAF or at the ETA, your landing or your forecast is saying anything less than 1 mile or 400-foot ceilings, it's not legal regardless to list as an alternate. Okay. You can look at charts all day, but you'll never get lower than 401. Okay. Like I said before, though, once you've found which one gives you the better minimums, whether it be the 1 nav aid or the 2 nav aid, then you'll come to your ETA on your TAF. So let's say our ETA is 1515 Zulu. You'd come down here to 1515 Zulu, and then you'd look. We know that we have 401.5, or 401, 1 mile, I'm sorry. We have 401. So we are greater than 1 mile visibility there, and we're greater than 400 feet on our ceiling. It's legal to list as an alternate.
Got it.
Okay. What I want you guys to remember the most when you're looking at alternates and when you're looking even destination alternate, whatever it may be, the first thing you need to do is if there is a NOTAM, you need to apply the NOTAM before you get any of your landing minimums, regardless of what they are. Okay. So NOTAMs are number one. Then we look at our charts, and then we look at the TAF.
Okay.
Everybody understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
That being said, let's take a quick look at some of our NOTAMs. and then we'll do PIREPs and call it a night.
Sounds good.
So what are the only NOTAMs that we ever really care about? Just name a couple.
Runways.
Lights. Any other now?
Okay, so runways, looking for lights, approaches, ILS or VOR, aerodrome,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aerodrome. Oh.
nav, right?
Mhm.
Let's see. Any others that I can really, that are standing out? Okay, that being said, if we see this NOTAM, what can we assume? Does anybody want to translate it for everybody real quick? Let me zoom in. Okay. Scroll up. Boom.
San Francisco, it's the 82nd NOTAM of March. San Francisco. Navigation ILS runway 28 left is out of service from March 9th, 2018, from 0800 to March 9th, 2018 to 1500 Zulu.
Okay, so what can we assume with our ILS being out?
We gotta use a different.
It's gonna change.
So it eliminates our ILS approaches. Okay.
On that runway.
On that runway. Okay. So ILS on runway 28, can't use it. If there's a VOR on 28, can we still use that approach plate?
Say that again. I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
Yeah.
If we have a approach plate with VOR for runway 28 left, can we use that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. We just can't use an approach that's an ILS approach. Okay. What about, seeing something like this?
It's just closed.
Yeah. So runway 10 right, 28 left, which is the reciprocal of 10 right. It's closed. When you guys actually get hired by SkyWest, you'll care about these FICON NOTAMs, but we're not even going to worry about them right now.
You better get those right or those pilots will be mad.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, one thing real quick, Garrett.
Uh-huh.
On that last one where you're talking about the ILS and the localizer.
Mm-hmm.
So sure if I heard you guys correctly or not, but was somebody asking if the localizer is available still with that NOTAM?
No, so I asked them if there's a VOR approach, runway 28 left. Is it still, can we still use that approach?
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, good point. One other thing I wanted people to know, though, too, on the ILS ones, because a lot of people, especially new people, will get confused by this a little bit because with an ILS system, remember, there's two different parts. You have the localizer and the glide slope, right? Your horizontal guidance and your vertical guidance. So there's three different ways that you could see a NOTAM regarding an ILS system. So the way you see it right here, nav ILS runway 28 left out of service, means the entire ILS system meaning the localizer is out of service and the glide path is out of service. So the reason I say this is because you'll see a really common mistake that people will see that NOTAM, but they'll still think they can use the localizer only approach. And it's just a common error that gets made. So if you see it where it says ILS, that means both the localizer and glide path are out. If only one of those two things were broken, if it was just the localizer out of service, then you would see just localizer out of service, or you would see just glide path out of service. So just remember that when you're looking at ILS, NOTAMs that have anything to do with an ILS system.
Yeah. So kind of hitting that a little harder here. Remember, so ILS, if the ILS is out, it completely eliminates this approach plate, right? Because this is an ILS approach. But if it's localizer or glide slope, if you come down here, you can see localizer, you can see glide slope. If one of those are out, this is the section of the chart you use now to derive your landing minimums. Okay, you cannot use this. You don't have a full ILS. Does that make sense with everybody?
Yes.
Okay. So like we're saying, this is a full operable ILS. This is when the localizer or the glide slope are out. So good. Let's see, is there another? So what does this one mean?
It's the 44th NOTAM of March. Runway 01 left and 18 right are closed daily from 0800 to 1400 Zulu on March 7th, 2018 from 0800 to March 9th, 2018 at 1400.
Yep. So good. So it's just saying that it's closed from 0800 to 1400 from March 3rd, starting March 3rd to March 9th, right? You can see there 0800 to 1400. Yep. So March 7th to March 9th. You'll
Got
have
it.
daily closure. Okay. Let's see if there's anything. Does this affect us?
What? Light. Yeah, probably.
This one I'm going to say no.
My computer's lagging. I can't.
I'll tell you why. So takeoff hold lights. If we look at our approach plate, there's not a section. If we're looking at our landing minimum, trying to derive our landing minimums, there's not one that says takeoff hold light. So it's not restricting us in any way as far as the legal to go, alternate minimums, whatever you want to say. It's not affecting us. So, you can just kind of chalk that one up underneath the pilot's responsibility. What does this mean at the end?
Estimated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't mistake that for Eastern Standard Time. I believe there is one possibility when you're reading a NOTAM that has EST at the end. Make sure you say estimated, not Eastern Standard Time, because everything NOTAM-wise, PIREP-wise, weather-wise, will always be in Zulu.
In Greenwich.
Yep. And let's read this one really quick.
I don't. It's the 484th of January, Detroit. I don't know. ADAP. I would have wildlife hazard from 01/12 of 2017 at 1933 permanently, but I don't know AD or AP.
So the AD is aerodrome and the AP is airport. So basically it's saying in the area, in the area of the airport, there's wildlife hazards. And they just started having wildlife hazards January 12th of 2017, apparently. But they expect to have them permanently.
Got it.
Okay. I think we've...
Let's do some PIREPs.
Yeah, let's do some PIREPs.
Wrap the show on the road. Someone, Garrett has to work early tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
So what's the difference, or how do we... What? I heard somebody say something.
Nothing.
Oh, okay. So...
I did.
Go ahead. All right. So what is how do we know the difference between an urgent or just a regular PIREP?
UA or UUA is urgent.
UA.
Okay. So this first part is just telling us, is it an upper air PIREP or an urgent upper air PIREP? So make sure you understand that UA stands for upper air. And then if there's a W, so UUA, that's urgent upper air PIREP. Okay. They aren't going to ask you to understand what the airport code is. So, if you know it, great, but I just kind of don't even care to read that part. I just say, I don't know, what airport it's talking about. In the interview. Not now, in the interview. Okay. So who wants to take a stab at reading that one?
I would try, but for some reason my computer is lagging really far behind.
Oh, you're fine. So
What you're doing, so I guess I'll catch up in a little while.
So I'll start it out.
I can do it if you want.
Okay. Yep.
He's like, sure. Over Seattle, the time is 0011 Zulu. Flight level 50,000. Type of aircraft was Boeing 737. Remarks plus or minus 15 knots at 50,000. Runway 16 right final plus or minus 10 knots on the rest of final.
So I really don't understand why they have the flight level written like this, but if you see the foot marker at the end, that's feet.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I see that now.
Yeah. So flight level 500 feet. And the way that we can really distinguish that is
when I got all the way down, you were on final there.
So you're on final. That's a good indicator. And then just kind of a gee whiz is, I don't think.
That was like 50,000. That's a little bit too high, but
yeah.
I'm rolling with it.
Yeah, spy planes up there that are Boeing 737s.
Yeah, it's like, as I read through it.
And it threw me off too. I kind of had to disseminate it as well. But yeah, so the first box is talking about the location. So Seattle area, it's over SEA might have a different VOR or different airport, or even at times you'll have a longitude and latitude. Okay. So what it's saying is, like, let's look at this one for example. So Seattle, it's the 110 radial, and 10 miles to the station, or 10 miles from the station. So he's on the 110 radial, 10 miles from the station. Time is your next box. So the TM always indicates what time the PIREP was written. Okay. The next box is the altitude at which they're reporting. Okay. So you'll see an FL. If you see UN, KN, that stands for unknown. 500 feet, 1,000 feet, 400 feet, 500 feet, 800 feet, 1,600 feet, 12,000 feet, 11,000 feet, 12,000 feet, 16,000 feet. So we just went through all of our flight levels there. Okay. The type here is the next box. TP always indicates the type of aircraft. So 739, I just know that's a 737-900, 737 de Havilland, or the 800,
The Dash
or the
8.
Dash 8. That's right. Sorry. So 737. I don't know what a CL30 is. I don't know what a PC-12 is. You don't really have to identify the type necessarily. If you know it, gee whiz, that's cool. This one's an Airbus A320 or A321, Boeing 757-200, Boeing 737-800, and a Boeing 737. So that's just your type of aircraft. TP type. Okay. The next box is what they're reporting. So what is the pilot reporting? Okay. This pilot is reporting turbulence. ONCL. Who knows what ONCL is?
Occasional.
Okay.
Light
Yep.
unknown.
Good. Good. So occasional, light chop, unknown. Okay.
So what is light chop?
So it means that it's just really,
Like choppy wind?
yeah, it's choppy turbulence. So this is TB, indicates turbulence.
Oh, turbulence.
So turbulence is always described like chop or mountain wave, or what's some other types of turbulence that you guys experience?
Wind shear.
Wind shear. Just things of that nature. So turbulence.
Clear air.
Yeah, clear air turbulence. That's the other one I was trying to think of. So CAT would be clear air turbulence. So occasional, light chop, unknown. This one is remarks. It just jumps straight to remarks. Okay. That's the last section here. So we're not even going to hit this one yet. Oops. Okay. But we'll look at this one. So sky condition. SK represents sky condition, so broken at 2300. WX, so the type of weather, that's the visibility is our 3 statute miles. The WV is wind velocity. So 180, 24 knots, gusting to 34 knots. You got TB, turbulence, light on final, light turbulence on final.
Plus or minus.
Yeah, we got to go over here. So the winds are plus or minus 20 knots on final. So you could have a headwind or a tailwind of 20 knots on final for 16 right. Let's see, we've got another one here, wind velocity. If you see wind velocity.
So when it's talking about, when it says final.
You cut out. when it's talking about
Hey,
final.
sorry, 1 second. My computer's being crazy. But yeah, when it's talking about, or when it says final, does it mean like on the final approach, or like what does it mean when it says that?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't remember.
final is your final approach. So that's when he experienced it, and you can
Oh, okay.
kind of look at their flight level as well, and that'll kind of help you determine where about they're going to find where you're finding this weather at. Okay.
We do that one that your mouse is on.
This one.
Okay.
Yeah. So this guy is reporting. His remarks are saying that there's low level wind shear. So LLWS, low level wind shear.
Okay.
And what he's experiencing is a head knot to a tail knot, or a headwind to a tailwind of 15 knots, 500 feet to the surface of the ground.
Oh, all right.
So he's
Low.
So is that what plus or minus always means? Is head tailwind?
so plus or minus just means that the wind is, it's kind of, headwind, tailwind. You can also kind of use it as like, the winds are just coming from basically every different type of speed. So
More
15 knots is kind of your general speed, but the winds are just kind of crazy right now. You could have anything from a headwind to a tailwind.
Okay.
Let's see. So let's look at this one really quick. So this one, type H25 Bravo. You got sky conditions are overcast. He doesn't list an altitude, right? The weather that he's experiencing is light rain. The wind velocity is 180 at 15 knots, gusting to 29. And then the remarks are that he's experiencing low-level wind shear, plus or minus 10 knots at this altitude. Okay.
So when you read it in the interview, would you say plus or minus, or would you say
I would say plus
Yes.
or minus.
like how? Like, okay.
Yeah, don't try to decode that one. I would just say plus or minus 10 knots. I know I've been saying like headwind or tailwind, but plus or minus is 100% sufficient. Okay, here's another one that you might see. So this guy is, like we said before, this is an upper air PIREP over Seattle off the 070 radial at 25 knots from the station. The time is 01:15 Zulu. Flight level is 14,000 feet. The type is an Airbus A321. The condition that he's experiencing is icing. So IC stands for icing. Light to moderate mixed rime ice. Okay. The remark is temperatures unknown, but he experienced it during the climb from Seattle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you guys feel about these? The best way to do this is to pull up that link that I put in the comments a while back there for decoding PIREPs, and then just pull up PIREPs if you do a Google search for PIREPs, and then just look at like as many PIREPs as you can. That's how you're going to learn PIREPs. There's really no easy way to learn this. I mean, you got to get these acronyms down, and sometimes it just takes seeing them over and over again. kind of like this one. You know, what he's talking about. So this is an upper air PIREP over Seattle off the 100 radial, 40 miles from the station. The time is 22:41 Zulu. The flight level is 10,000 feet. It's a PC-12 aircraft. What he's experiencing is moderate to severe turbulence at 10,000 feet. And then their mark is over the Radby intersection on the Chins 3 arrival. How are you guys going to know what the crap that means? You're just not. Okay.
Well, when we did our flight plans, we had to use chins a lot,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah. But
That's funny.
you're not going to know the intersection, right?
Yeah.
I can't
absolutely.
remember any of my intersections, but yeah. And then the ZSE is just the air traffic. I want to say it's the air traffic control en route.
I'm putting stuff on the in the chat that I use, and then how you can find them. The aviationweather.gov.
Yeah.
Okay.
So grab that, and then you can do so much on there. You can get your PIREPs, you can get METARs, you can get TAFs from all over if you don't already have it.
Yeah. But the important thing is that you guys need to look. Like, you can't just rely on, I looked at the chart. There's like 15,000 different acronyms that you could possibly see on these charts. And it depends on how the pilot wants to put it in. He may come up with his own acronym. So you just kind of got to see it over and over and over again to understand it. Take your time, interpret it.
Mm-hmm.
I got to show you guys my favorite PIREP that I've ever seen. And the reason why it's my favorite PIREP is because I was actually in the office when the person wrote it. And they actually passed it on to me. So I love it. Let me see if I can find a good article that has a good picture of it. Oh my gosh. It's gotten so much bigger than I originally thought it would. There's probably like 30 articles on this PIREP. It's awesome.
What?
Mm-hmm. Okay, here it is.
Just waiting.
And right here. Sorry, I just wanted to find it before I bored you guys with it. Okay, somebody decode this PIREP.
Over Dulles, UUA, over KIAD, time 12:38, flight level 4,000, type Sierra J2, type moderate to severe, remarks very bumpy on descent. Pretty much everyone on the plane threw up. Pilots are on the verge of throwing up.
So that is 100% legit. A PIREP that somebody wrote.
I like the comment. The comment right under it is really funny too. What? Actual?
Yep. It got
Those are fun
so.
flights.
Yeah, I can only imagine. But yeah, this just happened, like you could see here, 6 days ago, and I had the second flight into Dulles that day, so super fun, super fresh memory. Anyways, yeah, that's my favorite pirate. But like I said, you just got to read tons and tons of these to understand. This one is really like its own unique language. So, that being said, do you guys have any questions on anything that we've gone over for the interview?
No.
Okay. You guys feel comfortable with it?
Yeah. Do you think you could maybe send me your Chegg card deck?
Yes. So, Andrea, do you still have it as well?
Yes.
All right. So, anybody that wants it, I can send it to you. Does everybody have my phone number that's on here?
No.
Okay. So this is my phone number. So if you want the Chegg cards, send me a text.
We are official best friends now.
That's right. That is right. Let's see. But yeah, send me a text and then I will send you my flashcards. And they're most of it, let me just go through them really quick. There's FAR questions. There's like little remark sections of the METARDs to just kind of help get my brain in the right order. What's inversion? What is the atmosphere made up of? What is the ISA lapse rate?
Ooh, that's always asked. Greg always asks that on the practical.
Is there any for PIREP specifically, or is that one we'll have to probably just use websites?
That one, yeah, that one you're just gonna have to go for it. Like I said, just use the websites that we've given you, and then read a lot of PIREPs. There's no easy way to do PIREPs that I've come up with. The biggest thing that I'd want you to know with PIREPs is just know the sequence. Know that this is an upper air PIREP, where it's located, time, flight level, type. After this, after you get through the type, so this will always stay the same on every PIREP. What type of PIREP, where it's over, the time, flight level, the type of aircraft. That will always remain the same in every one of them. Okay? This is where it starts getting dicey. You got to learn that IC stands for icing, SK stands for sky condition, TV stands for turbulence, RM stands for remarks, WX stands for weather observed.
Or like
there's a half a dozen codes or a dozen codes that.
Or like right here, DURD during descent.
Yeah.
Or during climb.
Things like that. You're just going to have to read over.
And then on the Z's, that's the station reporting. So don't necessarily need to worry about that. Like at the end of these where you see the Z.
Yeah, that's the air traffic control en route center that's reporting it. So
Andrea, when are you going to be here?
I don't know what I'm doing. It's very tempting to come down there that week Adam's there. But it will also depend on interviews because my flight schedule is jam-packed the second half of the month. So we'll see.
Well, it was 70 degrees and sunny perfectness today. Just,
Delightful. Way better than all the weather I've been flying to. At home it's rainy, blizzard in New York.
hey,
Yeah.
at least you and the rest of your flight isn't throwing up.
Not this week. Not this week.
All right.
There's been a
Well-
couple upchuckers. So
I'll take upchuck. I'll take upchuck any day over what comes out the other end.
oh yeah.
Yeah, and then those parts get sent to me in records, and I have to tell people to change them. And all the mechanics write stuff like, passenger seat was mad nasty, changed it 12:31 a.m. whatever. We have one guy that always writes mad nasty on everything.
That's hilarious.
All right, well, I gotta go take a shower, but thanks for
Yeah, no
class.
problem.
Yeah.
So just something funny that happened with that PIREP
Yeah.
when I sent that on to the pilot over ACARS, the pilot called me up immediately on his phone, and he was like, "Okay, so what's the plan here? What's going on?" And I was just like, there's nothing special. We've given you tons of hold fuel. We gave you a precautionary alternate. Like, as far as being legal to go and being safe, we're 100% safe in my opinion. I said the only thing is that, and why I sent that on to you is because apparently that pilot's or that flight, the passengers painted the inside of the cabin. He's like, oh my gosh, that's disgusting.
That is disgusting.
But
I
anyways.
can't even imagine. Ugh.
Yeah.
So.
Anyways. All right, guys. Well, I'll wait for your messages, and then you guys, once I get them, I can send you on the card, the application, or the app to download and everything. So.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right.
So, I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Take care.
Yep.